It is 66 days to the presidential and parliamentary elections. Good afternoon and welcome to Election Brief. We're live on DSTV channel 421, Go TV channel 125, on all our social media handles and around the world on myjournline.com. Election Headquarters is brought to you by Petrosol Platinum Energy, Energizing Dreams, the Chartered Institute of Management Accountants, CIMA, and the American Institute of Certified Public Accountants, together as the Association of International Certified Professional Accountants. Is also brought to you by German Ozone Medical Center, Alternative Therapy, Dental Wellness and Beauty, as well as Chopbox Technologies, a convenience service, and Youth Bridge Foundation, bridging the gap for positive youth development. My name is Faustina Safo. Please stay for details. We are your home of independent, fearless, and credible journalism. Thanks for choosing us. Now, presidential aspirant Kofi Kranting has indicated that the NPP government has failed woefully in its fight against illegal mining. Speaking on Newsdesk earlier today, he charged government to ban all forms of small-scale mining in the country.
Complete ban, immediate ban on everything related to galamsey has to stop, because obviously these governments don't have control. Do they have control?
Do you think that your government would have control?
Heck yeah, I'm the government. Government? Do you not have the power to? Mentiasio. No, wait, you have the power.
Yeah.
So who are you waiting for? God? You bring the religious leaders to come in and pray. Really? Pray for what? You have the power. That's why you government. If you can't do the job, which apparently they've made very obvious, that's why I'm saying get out of here. If the kitchen is too hot for you, let somebody who is a master chef come in. Reclamation should be part of the contract before giving these machines or giving these concessions out in the first place. Did they do that? They didn't. So you cannot, first of all, you cannot give a piece of land out for mining if you don't have a reclamation plan associated with it. Did they do that? This government is so ridiculously incompetent, and we cannot forgive them. I am sorry, we cannot forgive them. And then when somebody goes out and protests, you have the audacity to arrest them. Hey, do you understand the people who should be arrested and put in jail is the president and all his ministers?
Away from that, the National Democratic Congress parliamentary candidate for Efutu, James Kofi Annan, has appealed to the chief of Efutu to, as a matter of urgency, intervene and stop governing New Patriotic Party from destroying his billboards and paraphernalias. Now, he also wants the traditional leaders to call the Electoral Commission to answer why some 3,000 additional voters have been added to the Efutu constituency in the voters' register. James Kofi Annan spoke after a demonstration to petition the chief of the area.
The Public Order Act regulates how a person or a group of persons must hold a public event. We duly notified the police about 2 weeks ago, and at the time we notified the police, there was no event. And yet the MPP went ahead to plan an event. Our information is that they submitted a letter to the police on Saturday, just before Tuesday, which means that they did not live within the Public Order Act, which mandated them to give 5 clear days notice. And even on the police, you don't give a letter to the police when you respect of Public Order Act on Saturdays, which means that effectively they notified the police 2 days, and yet they went ahead and did what they did. I blame the divisional commander who has assumed a partisanship position in this constituency. But I am also grateful to the junior ranks and other junior commanders of the police service in the Efutu constituency. They have ensured there is order, they've ensured discipline, they have been law-abiding, they have protected us. So I commend those police officers who saw the wrong in what the police commander has done, but still went ahead and gave us protection and assured us that they will protect us. So I want to say thank you to the police and to everyone who came turn out. You can see our crowds were massive. They had all the resources. We didn't have the resources. I gave nothing to anyone who followed me, not even one city, but yet look at the crowd that followed us. Thank you very much.
The presidential candidate of the National Democratic Congress, John Dramani Mahama, has assured Muslims in the country that an extra Eid holiday will be granted under a future NDC government. The NDC flag bearer expressed concerns about how the unpredictability of the moon sighting has prevented Muslims from fully enjoying their holiday. John Mahama has taken his campaign to the Northeast region, the home region of the MPP presidential candidate, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, where he has been engaging residents and traditional authorities. My colleague Maxwell Agwaba joins us live with more. Maxwell, what's happening as we speak?
Candidate John Mahama just arrived here in the Kogona community here in the Northeast region. Earlier, he was at the Nayiri's palace. Before there, he was at the Gambagas Chief's palace as well. And there, he's been speaking about, he's been announcing some interventions that the NDC government will, a future NDC government would implement if it's elected in December. Key among the things he's been talking about is to the Muslim community, and he says that if an NDC government is elected in December, it will provide an additional holiday, like you earlier mentioned. Another thing that he's been talking about also is that he says when the NDC was in power, it cost just about 11,000 Ghana cedis to go to Mecca. He says now it costs a little over 70,000 Ghana cedis to embark on that pilgrimage. He says if an NDC government is elected in December, it would ensure that it reduces the price of embarking on that pilgrimage. Another thing that he has also been talking about here is the issue of security, and he says that has caused some kind of self-imposed curfew for a lot of people. A lot of people are unable to move freely at night. He says if an NDC government is elected in December, it will create a conducive atmosphere for the people to ensure that they are able to go about their normal duties freely. He says that is necessary and that is also important for the 24-hour economy, which is one of the flagship programs the NDC intends to roll out if it's elected in December. So he says security will be key, and they'll put in place interventions and mechanisms in place to ensure that. Tied to that is the recruitment of personnel into the state security agencies. He says it is important to beef up. He says it is important to beef up the numbers because. He says it's important to beef up the numbers because the numbers we have now are not adequate. So he says a future NDC government would decentralize the recruitment process and have more people recruited into the state security agencies. We can listen to him now.
Next president, one kanzina zuna nechaka yenyu kabablo kaso na wono tu katumuntu kodina amla katumuntu kodina amla ya mama me worona bandum banam to fitina sha bebo me ya me ba banam to say ye to fitina sha la ya me bebo me.
Find out how constituents receiving the message that Mahama have been delivering to them. I wanted to find, I'm sure you've engaged residents and constituents.
Hello, Fasira.
I can hear you loud and clear. I'm sure you've engaged constituents and residents. How are they receiving the message from Mahama today?
Well, many of them are optimistic that the NDC will win the December elections. We have actually been finding out from the regional communications officer here, Alhassan Gafaru, because, I mean, out there, some persons have been saying that this is where the NPP presidential candidate, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, this is his home region. And in fact, within some hours, the NDC presidential candidate will be visiting Wale, which is his hometown. So quite a number of people out there are expecting Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia to perform very well here. That I've been speaking to the regional communications officers of the NDC, that is Alhassan Gafaru here in the Northeast region, and he says that the NDC will beat the NPP presidential candidate Mahmoud Bawumia in his own backyard. And he says he's confident that that is going to happen, in December. And that seems to be the refrain for some of the residents who we have been interacting with here. Many of them are confident and hopeful that the NDC presidential candidate will be able to beat Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia in this region. We've been asking them what has convinced them, to believe that. They tell us that they look at the state of the economy and they look at the governance process in general. They think things are not really going well, and they're really hoping that the NDC presidential candidates will win in this particular region, Northeast region, which is the home region of the NPP presidential candidate, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia.
So now we can now listen to John Dramani Mahama make that point about the Eid celebration.
You have a farm to form agricultural cooperatives. We're going to give the support to farmers through their cooperatives, not to individual farmers. And so every center is going to have, every district is going to have a farmers service center. And so if you are an agricultural cooperative, you register with your local farmers service center. That is where you get your subsidized fertilizer. That is where you get your weedicides and pesticides. That is where, if you want a tractor to plow for you, you go and they'll bring the tractor and plow for you. That is where you get all your services as a farmer. If you don't have money at the beginning of the farming season, they'll provide you with these services on credit. And then when you harvest your crop, whether it's maize or rice or whatever, after you have sold it, the little debt that is at the center, you go and pay, so that the following year they can give you assistance again. That is how we're going to help farmers, so that farmers can raise their productivity. In addition, every region is going to get an agro-industrial zone. And so government is coming to take land, and then we're going to develop it. We'll extend water, electricity, we'll do the roads and everything. And then we'll encourage Ghanaian businessmen and foreigners to come and set up factories, so that we can buy the rice from the farmers, mill it here. We can buy the maize from the farmers, cassava, whatever you produce, we will process it here before it goes out into the market. And so that's the agro-industrial zones. Aside from that, for young people, we have the 24-hour economy. We're going to encourage businesses to work 24 hours a day, 8 shifts a day, and so one job would have 3 shifts and it will employ 3 people, so that more people can get work to do. We believe that is going to be the game changer, and it's going to create more avenues for our young people to get employment. NDC is the party that when we're in government, people feel safe and they're able to go about their business. Unfortunately, since MPP has been in power, it is as if we are living under a curfew. In the night when you drive on the roads, there are no cars because everybody is afraid of armed robbers. When NDC is in power, you can drive at any time of the night safely. And so, I'm giving a hint to the armed robbers. NDC is coming back. We're going to make our country safe again. We cannot stand the situation where our mothers go to the market, and when they're coming back, they've sold their goods, armed robbers stop them, steal their money, collect their mobile phones, and take everything that they have with them. We are going to come and fight armed robbery and make sure that we make Ghana safe again. We need it because if the 24-hour economy policy must work, then we must have safety and security in the country. So we're going to make our roads safe again so that people can go to markets and do whatever they want at whatever time of the day and be able to know that they'll get back home safely without being attacked and killed. We have a market enhancement program, and so every district that has a market, we're going to improve the market so that our mothers and sisters who sell in the market can have a nice environment to be able to do their trading.
Away from the NDC, President Akufo-Addo has reiterated the commitment of his government to ensuring a free and fair as well as peaceful elections in the December polls, adding that he will not make any attempt to subvert the will of the people. Speaking at a meeting with the clergy, Muslim clerics, chiefs, as well as other leaders in communities in the area, he touted the achievement of his administration, stating that he has made the country better than he met it. He urged the people to vote for Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia to ensure that his legacy lives on. Well, let's get on the phone lines now and speak to Rafiq Salam. Rafiq, what else has the president been saying?
He came to the Upper West region first to thank the people of the Upper West region and then the country at large for giving him that opportunity to serve as their president. He said it is the greatest honor that the people of Ghana has done to him, and so he needs to thank them for that. And also, he also wants to thank them for the cooperation in the last 7.5 years where he has reigned as the president. And then later, he talked about the achievement of his government the last 7.5 years, where he stated that he has made the country better than he met it, and he talked about specifically the Upper West region, roads that they have constructed, a number of health facilities that they have constructed, including 41 chiefs compounds. We also talk about the Agenda 111 projects that they are doing in the Upper West region, 5 of them, and also talk about programs that they have brought into the water sector, which has improved the lives of the people. And then also he waded into the issue of the elections and then stated that he's not going to attempt to subvert the will of the people. The Ghanaian people will be allowed to choose the person who they want to lead them. And then also for him, his preference is Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, the flag bearer of the MPP, who he thinks that he has trained and has molded for the job. And he is urging the chiefs, the Muslim clerics, and then also the clergy and the people of the Upper West region and Ghanaians in general to vote for Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. He also spoke about the issue of the number 8, where Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia is number 1, and then the former president John Dramani Mahama is number 8, and he's saying that yes, now that he mocked John Dramani Mahama and stating that now that he has the 8, clearly means that he will lose the next elections, and so that's what President Akufo-Addo has been telling the people of the Upper West region for close to about 15 minutes.
Thank you, Rafiq Salam, for bringing us that update. Now, let's do some other stories here on Election Brief, because there's been a lot of issues happening immediately after the IPAC meeting. We've been hearing from key stakeholders after that meeting yesterday, and the former CPP presidential aspirant, Dr. Abu Foster Sakara, has slammed the recent IPAC meeting, calling it a sham. He criticized the composition of the committee, arguing that it silences independent candidates, thereby undermining the credibility of the electoral process. In a statement, he stressed that the Electoral Commission should not be allowed to create institutions and instruments that reinforce its position as an unchallenged referee in the election, where it is seen as having vested interest. Well, he further accused the EC of lacking full transparency, making the contest appear biased. Well, coming up on your screen shortly is that statement by Abu Sakara, and we'll get a reaction to that shortly. But that's what it says on your screens now. It says IPAC is a sham, if only used to justify the EC's predetermined position. The use of, quote, rent-a-party participants to blindly support its position without cogent arguments is a disgrace and not a debate. The very composition of IPAC, which effectively mutes the voices of independent contestants in the electoral contest, is questionable. All presidential aspirants must have representation in any conversation that affects the rules, process, and procedures of the contest in which all of them will participate. If this requires the name of IPAC to be changed to reflect its true function and purpose, then they go on to say, then so be it. That's the statement from Dr. Abu Sakara Foster. He's founder of the National Interest Movement. Let me bring in Dr. Kwesi Amachi-Boateng. He's a political scientist. First, I'll get your reaction. This is the first time the IPAC meeting has been telecast live. And so we've been getting reaction from civil society. But how would you say the live telecast of this meeting would affect trust in the upcoming polls?
Thanks for having me, and let me say good afternoon to your viewers.
Good afternoon.
Ordinarily, when you go public the way they did at that time, it enables everybody to really, in a way, participate in it, if not directly, somehow indirectly. They are there, they listen to the arguments, how people are asked to come out and share their views, and eventually how decisions are taken. So in a way, it's a form of transparency, generally, yes, allowing the media to capture it live, bring in the people who have time to either listen to what goes on radio or watch it on television, and they participate in it, although in an indirect fashion.
Now, let's look at the concerns raised by Abu Sakara. He's concerned about the live telecast of this IPAC meetings. He raised concerns about the composition of an IPAC meeting, which initially is supposed to enable political parties debate. But he feels that this one we had just yesterday didn't provide the political parties to do the same. What's your reaction to that?
I'm not up to date about those who were barred from participating in it and those who were allowed in. But then if, some particular criteria was used to take some people out, that might be what Dr. Abu Sakara might be referring to. And it's an interesting point because some of us also think that, yes, IPAC tends to have everybody there. And we go in for representation. I think we need to come out with a way to get effective representation at IPAC. But at times, this rent party thing that he refers to, I don't know exactly what he has on his mind, but you get the impression that, some political parties are represented there, if you like, to, in a way, add to the numbers such that when things come to vote, then their position will come in and then, if you like, we kneel to the benefit of one or another actor at the place. So generally, the participation with respect to yesterday's meeting is something that I don't have full information of.
A key concern he has, let me brief you on that, is the fact that if you look at the composition of yesterday's IPAC meeting, the EC briefed the political parties present on some of the measures they have put in place to ensure that they read the voters register of all the anomalies, key concerns that the NDC raised, the reason why they are pushing for an independent forensic audit of the voters register. However, political parties were then given 4 minutes each to ask questions, follow-up questions. But Abu Sakara feels that the IPAC meeting provides you the forum to debate, to challenge, to question, and that did not provide them the freedom to do so yesterday.
With respect to that, I want to say that, to the best of my understanding, it has to do with the number of political parties present. And obviously, they couldn't spend the whole day debating, even if they had debated. It might have to do with the numbers. And I was looking at the situation where, political parties will have to qualify to participate in IPAC engagements. So if, the EC can initiate some discussions on this and eventually, arrive at some sort of a mechanism that everybody, understands and, is ready to work with. Otherwise, we will keep having this issue. Everybody is allowed in there. Everybody is allowed in there, and it becomes a little unruly.
Okay, moving forward, the EC has served notice that future IPAC meetings will be telecast live. What's your reaction to that?
Well, I think that's good. That's good because, you know, the actions and inactions of the EC means a lot. And when they bring in the public like that, it's really, you know, the highest point of transparency. But then I think there's an issue that Dr. Busakara raised, and you know, those are, you know, equally critical. I don't know whether you'll be, you know, relating to that. The EC appearing, you know, to be, you know, a body that cannot be challenged and stuff like that. And going into this meeting with a predetermined position, you get that impression. So irrespective of the transparent nature of the exercise, if the EC goes into such an engagement with a predetermined position, then obviously the transparency amounts to nothing. Issue of accountability will be seen as having been relegated to the background. And so, yes, transparency, but transparency without accountability does not really, you know, sort of achieve much.
Thank you, Dr. Kwesi Amarchi-Boateng. He is a political scientist. Join us here on Election Brief. Well, the chief of Sefi Bozane and the Kontihini of Sefi, we also traditional council chief, praises Dr. Bawumia for some of the measures they have put in place so far. Now, he has told the Vice President, Dr. Bawumia, that Ghanaians will reward him for the development he has brought to them. He has said this at his palace when the NPP flag bearer paid him a courtesy call as part of his tour of the Western North region.
Opportunity to say a big thank you to Dr. Mahamadou Bawumia for coming to Bonsai. We never thought this day was going to happen, but he has made it happen. We thank you so much. We thank the NPP government for helping us with the road construction for both Draboso and Bonzan town roads. Thank you so much. Dear person, can I say? MPP abai yadamuase. Nyamin shiramo. Nana wanya de baby kono. Oya na dwen se nanka opese ohukota ansana wawu. Nyankopon fa na kransie ye. Wa hukota me penso MPP abai mo ahase ama ye hu se bibi wo baby na enu ntino me shamo bose mo dwuma mo aye no ye mane nko on notice. You will be rewarded on that.
And now for Ayinka the second added that the good policies of Dr. Bawumia are campaigning for him.
Your Excellency, Sesiano, campaign, and Yamikura na me campaign amawo. Mo policies, and the munyuma already no, I campaign amamo. And no, I call Kunji Abofie. Yako Kunji Abofie, Sahimura, or Meati Asiase, what da, na ya.
Well, that's how we wrap up Election Brief. For more news, please log on to myjoyonline.com. My name is Faustina Safo. Good afternoon.